The following may upset you. It may even shock you.
Hi, welcome back, everybody. It's Dillinger, Uncle Punky. That's how I'm known, with Storytime with Uncle Punky. I'm glad you can come back and join me as we move through all the information I could possibly give you on various pop culture. I do it every Saturday, and my life has been revolved around pop culture for many, many years. So this is why we do this for you. We thank everybody who's gotten involved and helped us out in this, as we do every week, and we're gonna just move into the show today. I thought I was going to have a co-host. No co-host. Space Wife is busy watching kiddos and such, and then it's cold and empty down here in this lonely old basement. I mean, I got production staff, but they're over there, and that's no fun. You need that human contact. There's no humans here. So, just me. Deal with it. We're going to talk about cryptids today. Cryptozoology, things from each state and around the world. There's a lot of beasts and monsters and urban legends, I guess you could say. A lot in West Virginia. There's, of course, the churches. Some of the more popular ones. We're going to cover a bunch of them. Maybe some you didn't know about. Maybe some you're going to want to research and possibly go out and seek yourself. Don't do that. It's probably dangerous, and they don't exist. I'm going to save you a hell of a lot of time and trouble right now. So don't do that. But first, as always, we got to get to our pop culture birthday list. So it is birthday time. Yes? Yeah, we got to see new imagery over there. New imagery for it. I still forget which side it's on. It's mirrored. Because it is birthday time. And we're going to do it a little different this time. Typically, we just got a list and we tell you things and we go through it. And this time, we're going to give you images. Okay? It's going to help you with these birthday celebrations. First off is Geronimo! He coined a very popular term with just his name. People jumping out of planes for centuries yelled Geronimo. I don't know what his significance was. Of course, American tribal leader. Died in 1909, born in 1829, on the 16th. We're on the 16th. I should have led with that. Also on the 16th, 1947, Buddy Roberts. American wrestler. We actually got a couple wrestlers on the list. Ultimate Warrior. Oh, that's not a good picture of Ultimate Warrior. Wow. That's right. That was like the Hall of Fame right before he retired, or...
That's the day before his death, actually.
Oh, my. Jeepers. And he died in, 2014. So, yeah, that wasn't all that long ago. Holy cow. Yeah, he looked right. He was still huge. That guy is just, you can tell that his neck, it just disappears into that collar. Just head, and then that's about it. All right, 1963, another wrestler, the Sandman from the ECW. He came out, smashed beer in his head, and he's like a ugly Stone Cold Steve Austin. Carried a stick, kendo stick.
That's where Steve Austin got the gimmick from.
That's where he got it from, Sandman? Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that guy looks haggard and beaten. His forehead is just brutal. Tupac Shakur, born in 1971. Of course, mysteriously died at the hands of, who knows, in 1996. No, I think they did find out. Wasn't it Suge Knight or something? Or something to do with some fiascos. East Coast, West Coast nonsense, blah, blah, blah. I don't know anything about it. I don't know the hip-hop culture. But we lost Tupac. And he was a dancer for, what was it, the Humpty Dance? I remember he was on that. What's that? Digital Underground. Yeah, he was a dancer for them. And then I think he was in the video for that movie. Remember the movie with John Candy? Dan Aykroyd was a judge. Nothing But Trouble. Demi Moore. You remember that one?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he danced in a video for that, or Addams Family or something weird. It was something weird. Don't quote me. Just research it yourself. That's what the internet's for. 1943, Barry Manilow, American singer, songwriter, producer. Every white suburban man's favorites. He's singing them. He's singing all them hits. Quagmire. Right. One of Quagmire's favorites. Still kicking it, though. Still doing it. Whatever he does. 1945, Art Bell, American broadcaster and author, founder and original host of paranormal-themed radio program Coast to Coast. He died in 2018 recently. I've actually caught a lot of that Coast to Coast. They had a bunch of weird alien conspiracies and stuff about, monsters, cryptids, things like that, and various other stuff. Very interesting show. It was a shame to lose that guy. That was a really cool show. I remember driving trucks late at night and doing van delivery and, just coming back and catching a show and just all kinds of weirdness. Get your mind going while you're driving, that's for sure. Who else we got? Joe Piscopo, American actor, comedian, screenwriter, was on Saturday Night Live for the longest time. Fantastic. He was the impersonation of Frank Sinatra. He was always doing Frank Sinatra and knocking it out of the park. It's a lot like Seth MacFarlane now. You know what I mean? Joe Piscopo was the then Seth MacFarlane, I guess you could say. Don't say that. Nobody said that. I'm saying that. Don't quote me. 1960, Thomas Hayden Church. He was on Wings. He was Sandman in one of the Sam Raimi Spider-Mans. And has he done anything else really lately? I haven't seen too much of him. I don't know what he's up to. Greg Kinnear, 1963. American actor, television presenter, and producer. He's been on a variety of things. I think he's still funny. I like Greg Kinnear when he shows up and stuff. But then he became serious actor. He had a talk show, didn't he? He was on like before Daily Show. It was like Greg Kinnear, or not Greg Kinnear. What was the other guy? There's a few other guys. I remember Greg Kinnear had some late night talk show at one point in time.
He in Bridget Jones's Diary?
Maybe. Who's this? Roger Ebert. Roger Ebert, famous American journalist, critic, and screenwriter. Huge critic. Covered movies with Siskel and Ebert on TV when I was growing up. Made me want to watch movies. I mean, he gave me my first impressions of things before I went and saw him. I mean, it was fantastic. He looked rough on his final days, that's for sure. I remember pictures going around where he lost his bottom jaw or something, and it was rough go for him. But he gave us a lot of really good reviews on things and books and other reviews, and very involved in the motion pictures. Sir Paul McCartney, English singer, songwriter, guitarist, of course, in the Beatles. Not much else you can say about him. He's Paul McCartney of Wings, and he's still alive, and he looks like an old British grandma. You can say that, and he's got jowls now. What happened to you? Not so young anymore. Whose birthday is this?
Barbara Broccoli.
Barbara Broccoli? She's the director and producer. That's her there?
Yep.
Oh, I thought it was.
broccoli.
Yes.
He's chopping broccoli. I thought it was his birthday. See, that's misleading. I don't know what Barbara Broccoli is. Blake Shelton, American singer, songwriter, guitarist, born 1976. Him and I are the same age. Let that sink in. Isn't that weird? You want to take it in for a minute? Who looks younger in this? Who's had a rougher life?
Is it?
That's Blake Shelton.
Oh, the guy from The Voice.
Yeah.
Oh.
Same age.
Wow.
Isn't that weird?
You're old.
What happened to him, though? I'm just saying. He's had a rough go at celebrityness. I have had no celebrity stardom. Look at me. Young, youthful, healthy, vibrant. On the 19th, Wallis Simpson, American wife of Edward VIII, caused was it King George to take?
Yeah, his brother
power.
George had to take because he abdicated because the British
He
were
abdicated.
not about to take a divorced American.
Right, you don't want to know divorce. Yeah, right, exactly. Okay, so she caused a fallout overseas with kings and such. Who else do we got? Paula Abdul, 1962. Crazy Paula Abdul. Singer, songwriter, dancer, actress, presenter. Yeah, well, I guess. She cries a lot. Did she have a problem? Alcoholic? She had a problem with booze. She was drinking a lot. I remember that.
She used to be married to Emilio Estevez.
She used to be married to Emilio
That's
Estevez.
enough to make me an alcoholic.
Why? He's fantastic. 1964. Oh, local legend here, right? Brian Vander Ark, American singer, songwriter, and guitarist from Grand Rapids, Michigan. Met him a bunch of times. Actually, is that from Grand Rapids, that picture? No, I don't recognize those buildings. Never mind. But yeah, I met him a few times when I was working for W Light here in Grand Rapids and a few other radio companies. Did some events with him and stuff. Super nice guy. 1972, Robin Tunney. Of course, she was in The Craft, most famously Empire Records when she shaved her head and she was all emo and stuff and punk rock. And she was awesome in that.
Prison Break.
The Mentalist. She was in the first 2 seasons of Prison Break. Yep. She's been in all kinds of things. I think she's good. I liked her. Gamora. Zoe Saldana. 1978. Yeah, that's right. She's younger than I am. Oh, look at her. She's adorable. She makes a good Gamora. She's a great Gamora. Welcome addition to the Avengers. I like it. On the 20th, 1942, Brian Wilson, American singer, songwriter, producer, crazy man. Didn't he go insane for a while? Amnesia?
Or not? His bed for a while?
Yeah. He's had a lot of strange ups and downs and stuff like that. Of course, one of the many Beach Boys. That's not John Stamos. Remember John Stamos was always with the Beach Boys on Full House? Nobody. Bob Vila, American television host. Speaking of houses, 1946 he was born. American builder. That's it. He's just a construction guy. And he hosted This Old House. Ways to show you repairs and fixing up and just did household stuff. Bob Vila. I grew up with him. 1949, Lionel Richie. American singer, songwriter, pianist, producer, actor. He's also a host on one of them shows. Them singy shows.
Voice.
Them sing-songy shows.
So,
I don't know, there's too many of them. And he's on one of them. And of course, Nicole Richie's dad. He gave us Dancing on the Ceiling.
Whoa, the
Yeah, I know.
feeling.
It's a good feeling. John Goodman. He had a birthday. 1952, John Goodman, American actor, of course, from Roseanne. Lately in Kong. He was in a 10 Cloverfield Lane. He's showing up in a lot of places. An unfortunate remake of the Blues Brothers 2000, which, I mean, he fit, but it just wasn't right. Robert Rodriguez, American director, producer, screenwriter, 1968. He was born from Dusk Till Dawn. He's got that Troublemaker Studios. He did a lot of the Spy Kids movies, and just he has had his hands in a lot of things. Very excellent.
He had a
Movies.
few Quentin Tarantino wrote pieces, didn't he?
Oh yeah, with the grindhouse stuff, things
Yeah.
like that. Michael Gross. This ties in nicely. He was born on the 21st, American actor. Born in 1947, of course, from the Tremors series. All of them. Every single stinking one of those movies he was in. And they're still making them. And he's still in them. But that goes with today's topic. A Cryptid's pretty good, too. 1979, Chris Pratt. This is a young fella here. American actor, of course, our Star-Lord. He was on Parks and Rec as Andy Dwyer. Hilarious in that. He played such a big, lovable dope, just amazingly. Which I guess he still does as Star-Lord. But
I think it's great in Jurassic World.
Jurassic World, yeah, I liked him in Jurassic World. But they're talking about him. They really want him to be Indiana Jones, which I'm okay with. I don't have a problem with Chris. I like Chris Pratt. I do. I don't care what people think he did in the Avengers. He really didn't. Emotions got the best of everybody. That's what happens. Calm down. Who's this guy? Edward Snowden, American activist and academic. Okay, he was the guy they did the movie. They did a movie about him or something.
Yeah, with
They did
Joseph
computers, something, FBI. His name came up a lot. I know that. Who's this? Lana Del Rey, 1985. This youngin, American singer-songwriter. She's got a few good songs. My wife likes a few of her songs. I enjoy it. One of my personal favorites on the 22nd. Boom, John Dillinger, American Criminal. I don't know why I'm excited about that. It's not the fact that he was a criminal. It's how he was a criminal. Very charming. Barely used a gun. And he was just always escaping, and that's one of my monikers, of course. It comes from John Dillinger. There you go. Chris Christopherson, American singer-songwriter, guitarist, actor. Wasn't he in the original Star is Born? I think that was him. Back from the 70s, 60s, he had a lot of music out. I can't remember seeing one of them. Meryl Streep, 1949, American actress, singer, award-winning actress, Meryl Streep. I do like her in some things when she's weird. Not her like dramatic stuff. I don't watch any of that nonsense. But Lindsay Wagner, $6 million woman, or because she's a woman, they paid her less, so it was like the $5 million woman. $6 million man, $5 million woman. That's how it works in today's economy. What do we got? 1958, the legendary Sir Bruce Campbell. He's not a sir, but still. American actor, director, producer, writer, Ashley Williams, forever and always. I think they just added him to that Mortal Kombat 11. They added Ash to that, so that's pretty exciting times. All right, I have to get on to our good old-fashioned list of stuff. And our list of stuff today has to do with cryptids. What are cryptids, you ask? Well, cryptids are they're animals presumed followed by followers of the cryptozoology pseudo-scientific subculture of to exist on the basis of anecdotal or other evidence considered insufficient by mainstream science. So biologists can't confirm what they are. Nobody knows. People have seen it. They haven't seen it.
Anchor page.
Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna have to. I don't. That's not.
Well, that's what this is based
Yeah, I know, and I couldn't pull up that list. I couldn't find it.
on. In our conversation on Facebook.
Is it? Well, you're gonna have to send that to me quick while I go through this explanation of cryptids. We're having technical glitches. It's our show. We can take forever. It's fine. But you know, cryptids are those things. You know, you get a blurry photo of a gosh darn Sam Squanch. You get like your sea creatures that have been talked about for ages and eons. You get all these other mysterious beings. Are they real? Are they not? Are they legends? Are they mutations of something? Are they something that's existed for millennium and eons? Okay, a lot of people believe in these things. There's a lot of people out there who there were shows on reality shows on people going Bigfoot hunting. There's a whole season on that. Did they find anything? No. 4 seasons. What did they find? Not a goddamn thing. Maybe they're out there. Who knows? I'm one of those people. I like to keep faith that, you know what? Maybe these are a real thing. Why not? Maybe one day I'm gonna be walking in the woods and I'm gonna see maybe the shadow of some weird creature, or the outline of something that I'm not gonna be able to explain. So I'm gonna be none of those crackpot people who just don't. Sorry, I was getting a text. Who just are out there spewing nonsense and like, I saw something, nobody believes me. All right, so we're gonna go through the list of our states right here nationally. There's a lot of them out there that people claim they've seen. In Alabama, we have Huggin' Molly. This is Huggin' Molly. She doesn't give hugs. She originated from Abbeville, where there's even a restaurant named after her, which I would love to go to. The legend goes, Molly appears to children at night. She grabs a hold of the kids, squeezes them tightly in her arms, and screams in their ears. She is purportedly to be 7 feet tall and wears black clothing with a wide-brimmed hat or hood. So that's terrifying. I don't think I want... I mean, I guess she does hug you. It doesn't say that she takes them. She just yells at them a lot. Moving to Alaska. Alaska has a Kalupala. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. There's creatures from the Inuit legend, of course, Eskimos and whatnot. They are said to have long hair, green skin, and long fingernails. So, I mean, that's pretty much an apt description of it right there. They snatch away disobedient children, keeping them underwater forever. So if you got kids, they're not good, you live in Alaska, threaten them with this. Maybe they'll straighten up and fly right. This is not Arizona. Is this Arizona? This is the Mogollon monster? Arizona's version of Bigfoot?
Yeah.
It's a different picture than what I got. It's said to roam around the Mogollon Rim, which is an escarpment near the New Mexico border. The beast stands roughly 7 feet tall, covered in long matted hair, and is reported to smell awful. Which is kind of like the legends of the skunk apes, which I know Chuck's a big fan of the skunk apes. What do we got coming out of Arkansas? This would be the Fouke Monster. Okay, it's a southern Sasquatch. The Fouke Monster hails from the town of Fouke in Arkansas. And like the other Bigfoot-related cryptids, he stands about 7 feet tall, covered in hair, smells atrocious. It's the typical formula, but it's also provided the basis for the movie Legend of Boggy Creek, which we'll talk about later, which you can watch. Actually, they still have a big celebration every year, the Fouke Monster. I'm really trying not to curse so much, and it's going to come out every time I try to say fuck. Okay. California, you have Fresno Nightcrawlers. They look like little white clothespins, possibly. You remember you used to throw a sheet on, you're like, ooh, I'm a ghost. That's what they look like. I think that's what they are. Fresno Nightcrawlers are named because of video surveillance, this is obviously part of that clip, that surfaced in 2008. You can find it on YouTube. Purporting to show a creature that appeared to be just all legs and weird head, and it could be part of the spoken Native American folklore that happened around the time. But still, it just looks like somebody wearing like high white pants with a tiny little pin. It looks like trash bags floating in the wind. You know, like when what was that movie, American Beauty, where the kid films the trash bag floating in the wind? I think that's what those are. It just look like they're walking. It's strange. This one looks like Pumpkinhead. In Colorado, they got something called Tommyknockers. Okay, and Tommyknockers are like almost like little elf-like gnome things who make knocking sounds to warn living miners of impending danger. However, there are other legends that do insist of they're mischievous entities who like to steal from miners and cause general but not deadly mayhem, of course. Stephen King has his own take on it. Tommyknockers, which I think that's what that's from, right?
No, is that miners like they're mining?
No, yeah, mining, because you got these little gnome elf things that are down underground with them. But I think that's from the Stephen King's Tommyknockers, which was much more terrifying. Connecticut has melon heads. It seems like that could be a legitimate something, like some tumorous, gourd-shaped head. I mean, this is obviously something that was drawn up. I have some other that are actually like drawn up sketches of it. But the melon heads are also prominent in Ohio, Michigan area, supposedly. It's said to be large-headed, short of stature beings who are either shy and reclusive or malicious and aggressive. Depends on the legend. So it depends on where you are. I assume Michigan's probably got some nice aggressive ones. I mean, we got malicious and stuff. That's got to be like the same thing, right? Close enough. Delaware has something called a Mahue. Mahue? Anyways, it's a Native American tribe from which this state takes its name. Native Languages describes the monster as such: a man-eating ice giant of Lenape legend, like the Wendigo of the Ojibwe and Cree tribes. Not many tales of Methue were ever recorded, but like the better-known Wendigo, Methue was a fearsome monster associated with starvation, cannibalism, and sin. A person who tasted human flesh or went mad from cold might turn into a Methue. And in at least one Lenape legend, the Methue monster that is treated kindly and given civilized food to eat can be turned back into a human. So it's complicated. So this is either a deformed human or it comes like that. But this is obviously not to scale. If that thing was that big, you'd find it in Delaware easily. Florida, as I mentioned, Chuck is a big fan of the skunk ape. Giant, smelly, ape-like stinking creature. Skunk ape, as to where it gets its name. Usually found in the swamp areas, rancid, putrid, like it's been eating rotten food, and it just smells like dead flesh. And maybe that's an actual. That actually kind of looks like a baboon in that picture, which is weird. But that has been one of the more common sightings of cryptids. I mean, even still to this day, I hear things about skunk apes and read weird articles and stuff like that. So yeah, we're gonna take Chuck down there and see if we can't score him a skunk ape. I think they got a little museum, a little skunk ape museum thing. Now that I remember, because I lived in Florida for years, down in Fort Myers, and I'm pretty sure there was something about skunk ape that I'm gonna have to research that some more. That seems like a thing. In Georgia, not that it snows there all the time. When it does, everybody loses their effing minds. They don't even know what to do with like a sprinkle or a dusting of snow. Everybody freaks out. But apparently there was a frozen Bigfoot that was discovered by two men in 2008. In August of 2008, you find a frozen Bigfoot. They claim to have discovered the body of a dead Bigfoot-like creature near the northern Georgia forest. Naturally, the whole thing turned out to be a big hoax, of course. But cryptozoologists believe the proof of this urban legend might have finally surfaced. I mean, they were all gung-ho about the fact that, but Georgia is not. How are you gonna? Never mind. I'm not even gonna question like the concept of why they would think so. And I don't even know what I'm looking at. Maybe eye holes in a giant. I think it's on its side. It looks like a big ball of leaves and hair, like something coughed something up in the woods. That's what that looks like. In Hawaii, we have menehune. There's some mythical little people, just tiny ones, who range in height from 6 inches to 2 feet. Said to be excellent and industrious builders. So they're like the doozers. They're like Hawaii's doozers from the Fraggle universe. They go around, they build little things. Ask Jonah Ray
I
about
can
that.
see Hawaii being Fraggle Rock.
Sure. Wait, how? Why? No, because they lived under that little old man's house.
Yeah, they live in the volcano.
They didn't live in a volcano.
Yeah, just go.
Maybe they dug deep enough to get to volcano-like depths, but they were under that little old man's house in like some suburban area or somewhere like.
Okay, so it's not an exact transition.
Not an exact translation, no. Idaho.
It's like I'm rebooting it, okay?
Right. Yeah, it's a reboot. That's the thing to do lately. Idaho, human-like aliens, I guess, which is your typical the big big-headed gray giant-eyed aliens. Here's how this goes. Okay. The Gem State, going back as far as the 1950s. All right, these incidents, strange non-human entities were observed either inside their spacecrafts or standing near them. Beings in each individual sighting bore a striking resemblance to one another, with an incident in 1967 perhaps being the closest look at these creatures ever reported. All right. This quote comes that they said its face was oval and heavy-pitted, increased, 2 small round eyes, and a straight slit-like mouth completed the facial features. Large ears stood high on the hairless head. So it's pretty much every sketch that you've seen a child do of an alien, just big-headed things and Martians. And that's what they have in Idaho. Don't go to Idaho. It's not worth it, I promise. Illinois, however, has something just terrifying looking by this probably fan art image, and even the sketch that I have here is not good, but it's supposedly a small creature, roughly 3 feet in height, with a small body, small arms, and pink eyes, as big as flashlights. Terrorized the small town of Enfield, Illinois, which I don't think we were all that far from, by the way. 1973, the animal was said to have leapt 40 feet in just 3 bounds, so it's a little toad-like creature, spotted in Mount Vernon, Illinois, 40 miles from Enfield between 1941 and 1942. So I don't know if there's any more current sightings. Maybe we need to let's call up the township hall over there in Enfield. I think we could do that, can't we? Off the air, we're going to call this Enfield and see if they have any more reports of this creature hopping around in their woods. Indiana, double-footed being. Means it's got 2 feet, but the same basic alien features. Guy said he saw in '88. There was a boy in Knox, Indiana, said a UFO landed in his yard in the night. And the beings came out, walked towards the house, and the kid said the humanoid was described, or they say, the humanoid was described as a bit over 5 foot tall with normal arms and what appeared to be claws and strange double feet.
Yeah, we're kind of a ways from Enfield. It's
Were we?
by St. Louis.
Oh, yeah, then that was way south. Alright. Strange double feet. The being wore a belt and a buckle and appeared to have some type of symbols across his chest. So at least it wore pants. No, it didn't wear pants. It doesn't say anything about pants. It just wore a belt. And it had 2 feet. Strange. Iowa has a grass man. He's not made of grass. He's just your typical ape-like cryptid, not unlike the Sasquatch, mostly associated with the Ohio area. But what is it? Iowa, Ohio. It's not too far. But he's described as being 7 feet tall, weighing 300 pounds, and leaving 3-toed footprints. Grassman is so named because he's most commonly observed walking through tall grass. Which, I guess that's that. Not because he smokes grass. Or he just lives in marijuana fields.
Maybe he sells
So
crack.
he sells marijuana to people. Yeah. Kansas has a beeman. Beeman is said to be like a Bigfoot and a wolf, werewolf kind of a thing, a were-ape, maybe. He hangs out in the forest near Kansas City, meaning he claims dual residency in Kansas and Missouri. So he's running both sides of that border over there. So be aware for beeman. What's that?
Is he by Kansas City?
He's by state. I don't know what that means. Is that a thing? It's part of the LGBTQ community. Kentucky has Kelly Hopkinsville goblins. Your typical goblins. But there's a pair of families was terrorized over a 24-hour period by goblin or gremlin-like creatures in metallic clothing that could float. So that's probably by far one of the strangest cryptozoological stories that have happened. It has to do with too much moonshine and randy owl attacks is what this is. Randy owl attacks. So horny owls come and attack you and they're like, oh shit, it's goblins. No, you're drunk on moonshine. That's what that is. Louisiana has a Rougarou. He roams the greater New Orleans area and is said to be a variation of the werewolf. Rougarou has the head of a wolf. His body is said to be human. Among other origin tales, Rougarou is believed to hunt down and devour any Catholics who do not follow the rules of Lent. So if you screw up on Lent, you get eaten by a werewolf in Louisiana. That's scary. Oh, I like this picture. This is in Maine. Argopelter, which is a giant chimp, pretty much. It's just a giant chimp. The distinctive feature are his arms, which are like muscular whiplashes, in which Argopelter can snap off dead branches and hurl them through the air like shells from a 6-inch gun, according to one eyewitness. Or like a catapult. He just whips some bad boys and hits people with trees. Loggers is apparently his favorite target in Maine. This one, I love the image. I'm sure this is probably photoshopped or something weird, but it's great. Maryland has a goatman, or the devil. There's a folklore investigator. His name is Mark Opasnik, and he breaks down the 3 primary origin stories behind the goatman. Okay, number 1, they described a creature that was half man, half animal, walking on 2 feet. The other aspect of the legend was that it was a mad scientist, a scientist who worked in the Beltsville Agricultural Research Center who was experimenting on goats. And the experiment went astray, and he started attacking cars with an axe. He'd attack anyone who would roam the back roads of the Beltsville Agricultural Research Center, that's pretty far-fetched. However, the third aspect of the legend is that it was just an old hermit who retreated into the woods and would be seen walking alone at night, Fletchertown Road, and when anyone would come around, he'd just run away. But that's probably not it. Other areas, the goat man is known as the Pope-Lick Monster, and a woman actually lost her life looking for this guy. She was struck by an oncoming train and fell off a bridge to her death. There's 3 different variations. That's one that seems more possible. Actually, the first one seems more theoretically possible of just a giant goat, maybe, but it runs away from people. So how many monsters or carnivorous creatures that are killing things is just going to leave you alone in the woods when you're searching for it? And you get hit by a train. You didn't even get killed by the monster. You can't even blame the monster for getting hit by a train. It's a train. They're big. They're loud. They're trains. Where are we? Massachusetts. Massachusetts gives us the Dover Demon. It's described as standing about 4 feet tall, no nose, no mouth. Its face is mostly consumed by large orange glowing eyes and tendril-like fingers growing from its hands and feet. He made one appearance in Dover, Massachusetts in April 1977, though it's speculated the demon may have also terrorized a gentleman in 1914. Old urban legends and tales are really, most of the things could have probably been easily explained under today's circumstances and with today's technology and other events and things and cameras and all this and that, but they didn't know. 1914, as far as they know, everything's a freaking demon. Michigan. We are known for having a dog man here in Michigan. I have heard numerous stories about this lots of times. It's a creature not unlike the famed Rougarou of Louisiana, that werewolf-like creature. In the Countless, this is a quote from somebody of Skeptoid, Allison Hudson. In the counties of northern Michigan, which I have family in, folks tell tales of a strange creature stalking the night. At first, most who encounter it think it's just a large black dog, but then the beast rears up on its hind legs and haunches, and reveals its true nature: 7-foot tall bipedal monstrosity with the head of a canine, surprisingly blue eyes, like you just want to stare into them and get lost into them, and the torso of a man. Lets out an unearthly howl that sounds almost like a human scream, sending all but most stalwart of witnesses fleeing in fear. And I think when they say northern counties, mainly towards the UP, I don't think he's crossed the bridge. I don't know if Dogman here can swim. But that would be terrifying to encounter. And my parents live in the woods up in Nuevo County area. And it's, at night you hear all kinds of rustlings and stuff. So I know there's coyotes, bears have been seen around vicinities up that way lately. But this thing coming out of the frickin' woods, I'd poop myself. I'd poop myself in a heartbeat. Minnesota had an Iceman. He first surfaced in 1968 when he was supposedly discovered by Ivan Sanderson, Dr. Bernard Heuvelmans, and touted as the missing link between ape and human. The Iceman began making the circus and fair rounds, and this exhibitor charging about $0.25 per person to see this monstrosity. Well, he disappeared from view for several years. The Iceman found a new home in 2013 at the Museum of the Weird in Austin, Texas, which I would love to go see. I'm curious about this. It is kind of an actual photo, but it's hard to tell from the picture I have. But it's in that shape in like pretty much a freezer. But it looks authentic enough from this image. So yeah, we need to make a trip to Texas. I want to go to this museum for the weird. That sounds great. I mean, it goes from Minnesota to Texas. Still frozen, though. I think I at least a little bit would have thawed out. I wonder what happens if you did thaw them out. You know what I mean? It's
like the
pops
movie
back.
Encino Man?
Yeah, like the movie Encino Man. You just thaw them out and give them like a cool haircut and a hip wardrobe style.
Oh, Brendan Fraser.
What happened to you? Mississippi gives us Man-Bat. Not to be confused with the DC Comics Man-Bat. Probably has a better origin story and probably a lot more realistic. But this Man-Bat, and this is a personal account from 1991, details one teenager who had an encounter with this half-man, half-bat creature in the small town of Mantichee. Mantichee? Don't know. The beast at first looked like a man in a long black cloak, but later he took on more of a bat-like form, complete with glowing red eyes, which a lot of people have seen images of Mothman. Or stories of Mothman. They get legends translated to somebody saw something, and it could have been a large bat. Who knows? But this is 1991, so I don't even know that long ago that people were seeing this effeminate man bat. Weird. Missouri's got a Momo. Not the weird meme Momo, the Japanese one that showed up on the internet and all that crazy Momo thing, whatever that was. That were scaring people, or people were committing suicide because of it or something ridiculous. Don't let the internet make you kill yourself. That's dumb. Several encounters with this Momo, short for Missouri Monster, were reported between 1971 and 72, so only had a year's worth of Momo. Large pumpkin-shaped head and body face completely covered in fur. You know what he looks like? Anybody? Gossamer. Remember Gossamer from Looney Tunes? He just needs a pair of sneakers on. So Gossamer is pretty much Momo. Good. That's nice. Oh, apparently he makes unpleasant growling and gurgling noises, and he emits a far more unpleasant odor, like that of the skunk ape. But yeah, he looks like the Gossamer or Mortimer. They call him Mortimer sometimes, I think, in some of the other weird cartoons. But yeah, that's a Looney Tunes character. That's not an actual monster. People need to not watch cartoons and go outside. Apparently, Montana has the Greys, aliens. Again, it's your typical big head, black eyes, tiny face features, and tiny bodies. Nebraska has a phantom kangaroo roaming about. It looks like a Pokemon. It actually kind of looks like a mix of some weird Jurassic World kangaroo hybrid. There were some sightings of kangaroos around the nation. Have likely been escaped zoo animals or pets for rich people, whatever. Descriptions of a giant kangaroo, not unlike the prehistoric Procoptodon, appearing in the Midwest suggest something far more uncanny. 1958, Charles Wetzel, not the pretzel Wetzel guy, observed such a creature on his land in by the Platte River near Grand Island, Nebraska. The beast, whose head more resembled that of a deer, was chasing his dogs. When Wetzel approached the animal, it sprinted away in incredible 10-foot leaps. So apparently, kangaroos like to chase dogs. Big prehistoric kangaroos. Jesus, Penelope. God, you scared the hell out of me. Penelope. Penelope is a witch. This is a basic depiction of a witch. Thin, long-armed, long-legged woman described as having a witch or zombie-like appearance with long, light-colored hair. She haunts the Sierra Nevada area. Said to emit a piercing, high-pitched scream, not letting on that.
Palpatine's daughter, yes.
Yeah, right. Palpatine's, yeah. His long-lost child. But she's like a banshee in the night. Locals don't know why the woman's name is Penelope, or do they have any idea about her origin. Somebody's just like, I saw a witch, let's call her Penelope. No backstory whatsoever. It's kind of like the Blair Witch. You make it for a movie, and then the legend sticks, and they think Burkittsville, Maryland's an actual thing now. Ridiculous. New Hampshire has wood devils, or terrible children's sketches of wood devils. It looks like a puppet gone really, really wrong. Supposedly Sasquatch-like, only very skinny and covered in gray fur. Like very thin gray fur. Mostly it's just often appearing in groups. So they're just little groups of these skinny little big. Maybe they're adolescent Bigfoots. Bigfoots in training. Or maybe they're being hazed by other Bigfoots and they had to shave and it's just starting to grow back. I don't know how Bigfoot society works, but I'm assuming it's a lot like that. New Jersey. The Jersey Devil. The 13th child. The legend has it to do with Native American culture. Local woman distressed over her 13th pregnancy cried out. She hoped the baby was the devil, and so when the child was born, Jersey Devil emerged. Instead of a normal baby, it screeched a horrible scream and then fled into the swamp, where it prowled and terrorized for the rest of time. So this has been going on for like almost 250 years. This supposed Jersey Devil. A bunch of different takes on it. A bunch of different looks. I mean, obviously this one, deer head, mule face, cloven hooves, the tail. I'm not sure. It looks like a Jabberwocky. That's what that thing looks like. But there are a few on Amazon. There are a few. Oh my God, I blanked. Documentaries on this and the folk monster. Actually, you can find a bunch of good ones on these weird things like Bray Road Monster. The Bray Road Monster was like a giant werewolf, but they're actually kind of interesting. I mean, yeah, they're far-fetched, but they're kind of cool. New Mexico, Spring Hill Jack. He's a little devil. That's about it. He's just this little imp. Typically and predominantly English urban legend, Spring Hill Jack has made appearances all over the world, even showing up in Silver City, New Mexico in 1938. Sometimes described as having devilish aspects, other times described as a tall, thin gentleman. Spring Hill Jack is universally recognized for his ability to leap high into the air and travel long distances by jumping. So it's like I said, he's just a little sprite for the most part, but just mischievous. New York, I remember this. I've researched and read about this. The Cardiff Giant. Of course, it turned out to be a hoax. Some farmer. There was a time period, I guess. You know, it was in Cardiff, New York, and this would have been in the 50s, late 40s, early 50s. Nonetheless, purported to prove statements made in the Bible that giants once walked the earth, but no such archaeological bombshell was ever discovered. The giant was only made of gypsum. Some guy had it buried under, and then he dug it up and tried to make a big thing out of it. There it was. North Carolina, there are some dwarf-like moon-eyed creatures, which is their name. They're believed to build house-like mounds in the woods. Maybe that's what those mounds are in downtown Grand Rapids. You think? Those mounds right there at right across from the museum, at the Ford Museum. That's what they are. They're made by maybe that's the North Carolina moon-eyed people moved north. North Dakota. North Dakota has a creature named the Mini-Washatu. Mini-Washatu. I don't know. It sounds like the name of a river also. Monster from the Missouri River. Terrifying hairy beast supposedly travels the Missouri River in central North Dakota. He's 7 to 8 feet tall, has tough bison-like hide and fur, has a single eye and a single bison horn set above this eye, elk-like hooves, human hands, and a jagged and spiny backbone much like that of a chupacabra. That seems like the movie Rawhead Rex. Clyde Biker, Rawhead Rex. That's what that is. That's the same damn creature. Oh yeah, that's what the picture is. Yeah, that's what that sounds like. Maybe that's what that is. Weird. Huh. Anyways, Ohio has the Loveland Frogmen. Just for this picture alone. I don't know what he's doing. Maybe that's how they try to get away. It looks like a Scooby-Doo villain. Like when they discovered, oh man, Jenkins. This is the costume that they use at first. Or when Thor got turned into a frog in the comic books. Nerds will understand that one. Half man, half frog. All terror. The Loveland Frogmen, because of Loveland, Ohio there, the creatures did not seem particularly antagonistic. 1955, a group of frogmen approached a local citizen on the road, prompting him to run to the police. Naturally, they were nowhere to be found by the time he came back with the authorities. Okay. 1972, however, a police officer did get to see the legendary animal. As it approached him, just as the frogmen had done nearly 20 years earlier, the officer opened fire. He did not hit the frogmen. I don't know why. And the creature escaped. No other sightings are reported since. I mean, once you start shooting at one, you're not going to come back around. Just a few shots fired over their head to get them running. No more frogmen problem. Reminds me, was the movie Hell Comes to Frogtown with Roddy Piper. That's a great movie. You get a chance to watch that one. It's got frogmen. It's great. Oklahoma has a Stikini. Stikinis are a legend from Seminole folklore, which found its way to Oklahoma when the Seminole people were forced to migrate from native Florida. The video game Final Fantasy features a version of the Stikini as a well, they show about the entomology and stuff like that. But they appear as normal humans by day, but at night they transform into owls or other animals, sneak off into the woods, and vomit up their internal organs that are hung in a tree or else hidden. Then transforms into an owl and flies off to feast on human hearts, which they rip from sleepy humans through their mouths. The Stikini must retrieve and swallow its organs to transform into a human again. Hearing the cry of the Stikini is said to be an omen of the approaching death. So that is probably the most terrifying description I have ever heard. They have to hawk up their entire intestines to turn into an owl and then ingest them again in order to become more human. How do they know which order? Do they like swallow them in the order they hawked them up? Like all your organs aren't exactly connected by like one strand of like tissue or that doesn't make any sense to me. That thing is it's a beautiful sketch. I like the picture, but that's weird. I don't like it. Oregon has an unknown goblin-like creature. That's your typical picture of a goblin. Apparently, they occupy the woods up in Oregon. Pennsylvania is supposed to have a white Bigfoot, which has been spotted in Carbondale, Pennsylvania area. Due to his height appearing to be shorter than many of the other creatures the same, they speculate it might just be a juvenile Sasquatch, but it could be like an albino bear or something. I'm sure there's probably an explanation for it. Legend meets truth. Rhode Island has Big Rhodey. Apparently there's a Bigfoot in Rhode Island. A bunch of blurry videos that's been captured by some people in the woods, and there's of course a book for local legends. I think we have some on the Dogman here in Michigan that you can find places too. Yeah, Lizard Man. Look how real he is. Actually, he even looks better than that the lizard that they had in that Amazing Spider-Man movie. That's actually better. That's better off. Lizard Man's not associated with lizard people, the race of creatures said to control the world by disguising themselves as politicians and government officials. It's not them. It's not the movie V. These ones stick to the swamps around Lee County and enjoy terrifying citizens in their cars, among other antics. Generally about 7 feet, bipedal, bulky, covered in dark hair, scaly lizard skin on his hands, feet, and face, 3 toes on each foot and 3 fingers on each hand, and a long tail. But yeah, few witnesses reported seeing a tail, although in the majority of cases, a tail was not seen. South Dakota, you have hitchhiking demons. We don't have any photos. There's nothing we can find. If you've seen a demon, use your imagination of one hitchhiking down the road, a la the Incredible Hulk, like Bill Bixby at the end of the Incredible Hulk, just
demon?
thumbing it down the road, but he's got horns like a demon. Tennessee has a wild man. First, he appeared in McNairy County in the 1800s, described as tall and hairy, but far more human appearance, like more ape-like brethren. But there's probably just some old big man who retired into the woods, and he comes out naked and yells at, people getting on the lawn from time to time. That's what I do. I think that's where I'm going to go when I hit like 80. grow a bunch of hair, and then just move out in the woods and yell at people naked so they think I'm some kind of urban legend. Texas has a chupacabra. That's right, El Chupacabra, which means the chupacabra. I'm pretty sure that's what it translates to. It feasts on goats and animals, and it's this weird. I mean, there's been a few descriptions. It's got like these spines along its back and weird fish-like, almost amphibian, but lizard, dog, strange something to them. I don't know. I do like this image of them. They're kind of cool looking, but they're mainly Latin America, Texas and South. The goat suckers, because they obviously by the picture he's sucking on a goat. All right, Utah has a hobbled humanoid. Is that? Oh, whoa! Is that the? That looks like the pigman. Oh, that is a pigman. Did I skip one? No, that's chupacabra. We missed the hobbled humanoid, but that's okay. I don't know the story on that one. Vermont, pigman. Northfield, Vermont. Actually has a name, Sam Harris. It is said that Harris disappeared on the night before Halloween in 1951. Though never found, many theorize Harris became possessed by Satan that fateful night, forcing him to stalk the woods for all eternity. And this is according to cryptids.
Okay.
Sam Harris is known to slaughter pigs, eat their entrails, hollow out the pigs' heads, and wear it over himself, all while terrorizing the New England town locals. He sounds more like like a deranged, weird person than an actual. Supposedly he still haunts the hills surrounding Devil's Wash Bowl. Rumor has it he lies with the pigs, and is also known for bestiality, spawning half-man, half-pig offspring. That's weird. That's really weird. Especially if that picture's that. But he has a name, Sam Harris. So this is something you can actually look up. This gentleman, Sam Harris, the pig man. Oh, that's a good picture of him. There we go. That's the one. I think we put the other picture in the wrong spot. I like this picture. I want to believe that he does look like this. Like he just got done with a fight club. He's just kind of hostile.
His name's Bob.
Looks like Mickey Rourke. All right, the Mothman. Virginia, this has been established for many years. They have a test. They have the statue right here, as you can see. In Virginia, movies spawned from it. What was it? A Jeepers Creepers, loosely based. It's either a brown or a white figure, the body of a man, wings of a moth, eyes are just glowing red. And there's many documentaries on this too that are well worth checking out on Amazon. I mean, just the way the people take it in and the way some of these people are just so, they believe it all. I mean, they're like, yeah, this is the thing. And different interpretations of each one. Washington has themselves a Sam Squanch up there. West Virginia has the Flatwood Monster. Now, there has been... The Flatwood Monster also is part of a documentary that goes with the Bray Road Beast, the Beast of Bray Road, and Mothman and stuff like that. And I watched this one. This one's actually kind of interesting. September 12, 1952, a group of Flatwood, West Virginia residents ran into the woods to investigate a bright red flash they'd seen moments before. While shining a flashlight amongst the trees, one boy's beam fell across an unknown figure. Being this figure. Joe Nickel of Skeptical Inquirer writes, the light revealed a towering man-like figure with a round, red face, surrounded by a pointed hood-like shape. The body was dark, seemingly colorless, but some would later say it was green. And Mrs. May reported drape-like folds. The monster was observed only momentarily as suddenly it emitted a hissing sound and glided toward the group. Lemon responded by screaming and dropping his flashlight, whereupon everyone fled. Is it extraterrestrial? Is it just imagination with flashlights? I mean, then this was back in 1952, you know. There was still a lot of hype going on from the War of the Worlds and all the other weird sci-fi nonsense, and people thought that, you know, space was going to kill us. I mean, it probably is going to kill us, but the literal creatures from beings were coming to just murder everyone, and we're already here, so that kind of helped with the hype of that. Wisconsin, Beast of Bray Road, here it is. Werewolf-like creatures spotted around Elkhorn, Wisconsin, 1936, described as a hybrid bear-dog thing. Made a few appearances in the 80s and 90s, like I said, terrifying towns, stuff like that. Bray Road is a road up in Wisconsin, up in Elkhorn. You can actually get to. Yeah, definitely check out that. Check out the documentary on that one too. That's a really good one. The Nimeriger from Wyoming. Nimeriger. Well, according to Shoshone legend, a tribe prominent in Wyoming, were a vicious race of people standing no taller than 3 feet, known for attacking passersby with poison arrows in their ankles, I presume, because they are just tiny little people. Yeah,
So they're cherubs?
yeah, kind of like cherubs. A bunch of little pygmy things that run around and just destroy people's lives, apparently, according to a lot of
gremlins.
North American legends. Yeah, we like our gremlins and demons and fascinating alien monsters. A lot of aliens. A lot of aliens came up on this list. So that's what it is for things in America. Okay, we're gonna take a break and we're gonna go to an intermission. We're gonna hear from the Dead Last. We're gonna play some music. We're gonna go back to music. Some Dead Last are gonna play. We're gonna thank, of course, Pucks. The 501st Break Room Therapy, Custom Rags. What's the other one? What did you do? Retro Rags.
Big Vision Customs.
Big Vision Customs.
Who printed our t-shirts.
Who printed our t-shirts, which our t-shirts are out at wildtimefun.com. Go check out our website. It's the home of Storytime. And you can get t-shirts, which are not expensive, okay? I promise you. And I can do more if I can sell these, so make sure and pick them up. Yeah, and thanks to everybody who's always a part of our show. You're a very important part of our lives, and Fandom Files, and Comic Signal, and Tardies, and all of our other new friends that we're coming out to see. And we're going to come out and see more, because it's summertime, we're getting out there. Commercial from Pucks, hit the intermission. Hit the intermission. Commercial from Pucks, he's in a real hurry today. And then we'll go back with segment 2, where we tackle international cryptids. So stay tuned, we'll be right back.
At Schaefer Orchards, our hard cider is so good, it pours itself. Don't believe me? Oh, I got you. Puck cider.
are back. All those guys will never shut up. Just kidding. Good Friends and the Dead last. Some older music for the older crowd, I guess. I'm glad you could come back and join me. I am Uncle Punky, Storytime with Uncle Punky. Today I'm talking about cryptids, myths, monsters, legends, cryptozoology, however you want to claim it. We took a tour around the United States. Some of the various creatures, beasts, and myths that are happening about our nation. Where did we go after that? Deep into international waters. That's where we go. Because we're going to continue our cryptid talk with more of the international monsters. And these legends go far beyond the ones that we have here. A lot of these, like in the ones of Japan and of other sea creatures and stuff like that, I mean, have been predominant in history and culture throughout eons. But we're going to start, of course, with one of the most famous. My friend and yours. Friend of children. I don't know if that's true. Nessie. There's been many theories, and there's 60 billion pound or 60 million pounds like per year on like the marketing and stuff for this creature that doesn't exist in Loch Ness, which is a small body of water located up in Scotland. Scotland?
Yeah.
Yes. I was confused with Ireland for a minute there. Jeez, I'm dumb. I should know that's not my people. My people get drunk; they don't see monsters. So the Scottish have this in their loch, and tourists flock there. I mean, it just generates so much money from this supposed plesiosaurus-looking sea serpent creature that dwells in this loch. Supposedly, there's tunnels and caverns where it can get out to sea, and it's lived for just centuries. And myths. I've always wanted to go there, though. It does look beautiful, and I do want to sit there just on the loch for like 5 hours and just stare up and see what it is that's making people see these things. I mean, you know, obviously choppy waters and stuff like that. So, your typical sea serpent seen here. This one had a name, didn't it? This one have a name? Can't remember if this one had a name. This might be one of them. I think we mixed it in, but that's your typical sea serpent. Abominable snowmans, your yetis. You know, always grainy footage. This is actually a pretty decent picture, but I don't think it's. I'm sure it's just somebody in a suit, but it looks cool. Maybe from a movie about a yeti. Who knows? They're seen in abundance. But we're going to go over to Russia. Russia has the Brasno dragon. Brasno dragon is just your typical lake monster up in Lake Brasno, Russia. Some of the features, of course, giant, scaly, serpent-like, eats boats and the like. It's terrifying. I wouldn't like any of that. A bunyip. Bunyips come from Australia. They are lake and cave animals. They don't have many toes, kind of sloth-like in description, but just gross and covered in muck, apparently. They look like whatever these weird things are. Now this one comes from the Pacific coast of North America. I know it's international, but whatever. Pacific coast, that could come from anywhere. Cadborosaurus. We found this weird images of supposed people with what they think are sea serpents and monsters that come off the Pacific. And then we'll move down to England. Let's go over to England, which is supposed to be a bipedal fish, the Canvey Island monster. So supposedly this is a picture. This almost looks like a catfish. Which if you watch River Monsters, Jeremy Wade catches those things all the damn time. But this one could apparently walk or had some form of feet that they saw up there in England, over there in England. Dingonek is a jungle walrus from Western Africa, tusked water animal, spiky tail, almost like a Komodo dragon, a little bit more armored, big spikes all over the place. Apparently they're finding these things in rivers and weird bodies of water in Africa. Who knew? Let's go to Ireland. The water hound. This is an extra large otter-like carnivorous aquatic mammal. It kind of looks like a Mewtwo from Pokemon. It might be a Pokemon. I don't know what this sketch comes from. But Ireland's got these Dabar chews hanging around. The Megaconda, South America. They have big snakes. They're known for big snakes. This might be Photoshop big snake, but it gives you the idea. Okay, so we're not going on that all these images are actually photos of some cryptid weird thing. They're not. Okay? Probably Photoshop, but you get the idea. Giant effing snakes. I am not a fan of snakes. Space Wife wants to get one in the house. I tell her no, because I'm going to wake up thinking like I'm wearing a sleeping bag. I'm like, I don't remember putting on a sleeping bag. Oh yeah, it's a snake trying to eat me in my sleep. I assume that's what happens with all snakes. I don't care what size they are. they're going to eat me in some manner of speaking. So I'm never going to go to South America. It's never going to happen. Central South America, not going there. Won't do it. Oh, here we go. Lake Ontario, up in Canada, because I guess it's kind of foreign, now that we're there, Mexico, I guess. This is called the Agapogo. Agapogo? That's what it's called. It's a lake monster. This is supposedly one that they pulled out of a lake. If you ask me, it just looks like decomposition on some kind of weird fish. Whale, maybe. Who knows? There's a bunch of weird fish in the ocean. That's for a fact. Let's move down to... Ooh, this one comes from Iceland. It's a lake monster. Lagerfjord worm. Something Icelandic that they say. I can't pronounce it. There's too many consonants all close together. It messes me up. So I'm going to butcher it. You can look it up if you want. Some kind of giant worm that resides in Iceland. And this is supposed footage. We saw some video where it looked like something moving in the water. Head kind of looks like a crocodile just streaming along, something else behind it. I don't know. It looks like two alligators tied with their tails together, floating through the water in one motion. It's weird. You can look it up if you want. Of course, no story would be complete without the Kraken. Kraken, of course, you know, Wrath of the Titans, they had one. Supposed sea monster, large tentacles, possibly some spikes, giant squid or octopus-like creature that devours ships in the ocean. It's been legend as long as there's been people on water. They may make some reference to it, you know, Roman times, things like that as well. Possibly helped destroy Atlantis. It's got many legends and features, and it's appeared in a variety of things. I think they had one in what, Pirates? Pirates of the Caribbean had one of those.
Wasn't that kind of Davy Jones?
Yeah, it takes you down to Davy Jones' locker, I think is what it is. Here we have the Manipogo, or the Winnepogo. It's a lake monster coming up from Canada. Manipogo. It's just a weird monkey-looking guy.
Cousin to the Winnebago?
Bigfoot. Yeah, it's comes from Winnebago. Here's the Ogopogo, which comes out of also out of Canada. What was that one? No, Manipogo was Canada, and this one is another part of Canada with the Ogopogo. So there's many pogos running around there. This one, I believe. I'm went too far. What did I do here? Hold on. What did I do? Nope. We went from Krakens, and I screwed that up. I did screw that one up. That was me. This one comes from Asia. My bad. This is the Almas. I knew my references were kind of askewed on this one. So this is the Almas. This is a non-human ape or hominid, Asia. Caucasus, I think. Caucasus is the area where they're found. The Barmanu, Middle East, Asian ape hominid. So this is the supposed missing link, I guess, from the Middle Eastern countries over there. And then we have the beast. Oh no, this is the hominid Batut-tut. Batut-tut. It's one of those. Batut-tut or Batut-tut. He's a hominid. Vietnam, Laos, Borneo. Apparently he likes luggage, getting into trash. This is one of those another grainy photo things. It's hard to make
like
out.
A head of lettuce, so he's just
Yeah, maybe a head of lettuce. It could be a
He's
campsite. That's it. Maybe he's trying to recycle. Maybe he's picking up trash. Who knows? Oh, this guy, Chichunya. Chichunya, and of course, Russian, is a large hominid, Bigfoot, Yeti creature that somebody made a comic book out of in Russia, which I'm curious. Maybe Targeters can get a hold of one of those. I'd love to see that. This is, I don't remember what this one is. Oh, this is the Elwitstrich, which is a mammal from Germany, kind of like an ostrich with weird boobs and a snout and possible antlers and feathers and balls on his chin. I don't know what's going on with this image. This is one of the weirdest ones we could find image-wise of this thing from Germany that I don't think it's predatory, lays eggs. It's probably protective of that. Most basic animals have that necessity. God, that's a weird picture. Moving on. The Folk Monster. This is a hominid or other primate. This comes actually out of Arkansas. But this, the Louisiana area, Arkansas, but this is an actual picture that they took back in the day of what this supposed creature is. It just looks like one of them, the monkeys, the monkey grinder, or the monkey grinder. Is that what the music grinder? Monkey grinder, where they have the monkeys dancing around with a guy with a music box, and he cranks it. But that just looks like one of those on a leash, just made in an old photo, so it's kind of creepy. You know what I mean? Giant worms. This is Maricoxi. This is no, this is not Maricoxi. What is this one? Hold on, I'll get this one. Nope. Minacao. Either way, it's a big earthworm from South America. They have those, like sandworms, or those things in Dune, Beetlejuice. Where else do they have them? Where else do they have these things? Tremors. It's like a tremor. So if you see one of those, it's kind of like the Mongolian death worm, which is like this giant, spiky, acidic worm thing that just comes out of the ground, and supposedly they have them over in Mongolia. Don't think it's true. Yeah, there's another better shot of them. Kind of what they look like. It's just, they're weird. These things are, what was this one? The blue one, you remember this one?
Originally it was an orange one. The blue one came out.
Kanto from Tanzania, Mingwa. This is a Mingwa. This is a picture of a blue Mingwa. But the Mingwas come from Tanzania, so it's almost like a Tasmanian devil, like just big cat, almost hyena, like a tiger and a hyena mixed together, pretty much. Still be scary. Oh yeah, this guy. This is the Orangbati. These names are very complicated in other languages. I just want you to know this. Bipedal, comes from Indonesia. It's pretty much just a gibbon with wings. An orange gibbon with wings, which this picture is obviously photoshopped and just adorable. I want that. I actually want a toy of that. They need to make a toy of that. Or that needs to be like a Batman villain at this point. One of those. Orang Mawas? This is the one from Malaysia. Oh, this is the Ozark Howler. Carnivorous. He's a big scary one. No, that's not. Where am I at? What are we on? That's not. Skunk ape. We did skunk apes already. Yetis. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's right. That's where we are. Hold on. This guy is the Yeren. He's the Chinese Bigfoot. That's what that is. That's your Chinese Bigfoot. And this one is your Australian Bigfoot. Large, hairy, human-like entity. Various other descriptions of human ape features. And then we get into movies. There wasn't too many that had... I mean, actually, there's a few that have to do with cryptids. Nowadays, there's more horror movies that have to do with, like, Bigfoot, and, of course, you're going to get werewolves and stuff like that. Like I said, there's documentaries on Bray Road. There's a few movies, actually, about Jersey Devil, 13th Child about Jersey Devil. What was the other one? Mothman Prophecies, Harry and the Hendersons, just to name a couple, which was a great movie. John Lithgow was amazing in that. Loch Ness, starring Ted Danson. He went out in search of Loch Ness. I think they found family and friendship more than they found the monster, which is what that was about. We were talking about this one the other day, Space Wife and I. One of the smallest humans in our life need to see this because she likes mermaids. And it's a mermaid movie. And they're technically a cryptid. Let's be honest. Half human, half fish. That's a cryptid. All the way. And Tom Hanks and Darren Hyena are great in this movie. Of course, Eugene Levy, late great John Candy, who is phenomenal in anything he's in. But good movie, if you haven't seen it. Mothman Prophecy, starring Richard Gere. Laura Linney is in it as well. It's just pretty much about those glowing red eyes of the Mothman and, you know, seeing it and stuff like that. Really, really good movie. Legend of Boggy Creek, terrible movie about a college professor and his seeking out this creature, Boggy Creek creature. I think they show it in the second one. They did make a sequel to it, which is just as ridiculous. Can be found in Mystery Science Theater, which is a funny way to watch it. Tremors, chock full of cryptids. A lot like the ones that we've talked about. The movie is loosely based on those. They go by sense of, they feel. They can feel the movements in the ground. They come through and they eat you. Giant worms. Original one with Kevin Bacon, of course. Michael Gross, who has starred in the last 5, 6. I think they got another one coming out. That pretty much covers it. As far as video games, we did find a lot. There is a video game called Cryptids. There's a few comic books out there that have to do with some cryptids. There's one about specifically cryptozoology and stuff like that. So you can find all kinds of cool pop culture stuff like that out there. If you're into cryptids, I know there's a lot of conventions and stuff that have to do with things like that. If you're into that kind of thing, and meetings and gatherings of skeptics and, you know, lovers alike. You know, if you're into that kind of thing, you can be into anything today. Nowadays, anything, literally. What should I do? Avoidance corner? It's avoidance corner time. Let's do the avoidance corner. Today's avoidance corner is a movie about one of the most popular of the cryptids, which would be Bigfoot. This movie is called Cry Wilderness. It showed up on the new season of Mystery Science Theater. They tore it apart, but I have watched it. And it is about a boy named Paul. And his dad is a park ranger. Paul goes to this posh boys' school, private school, something for some reason. They don't like him because he's imaginative, and he tells a story about meeting Bigfoot a year ago. Well, Bigfoot comes back to warn Paul that his dad's in danger. And apparently Bigfoot, he enjoys Coca-Cola and rock and roll music, which they call it rock and roll music, but let's be honest, it's not. It's just generic sounds that come out. He's got an Indian companion. They throw every wooded animal they can at you, and it's odd. It's odd. I always suggest watching it being riffed or comedic purposes. It's comedic in its own right. I don't think it's meant to be, but it's a weird one. If you want to check it out, my opinion, avoid it. I just gave you the breakdown. It's just a weird Bigfoot movie. You don't even put it to like Harry and the Hendersons. It's not that kind of family one. It's just odd. So there's your review. All right. That being said, thanks to Chuck. Thanks to Joe. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. If you tuned in, get yourself a t-shirt. They are at wildtimefun.com. Thanks to Pucks, all our sponsors, not sponsors, all of our friends of the show, everybody who gets involved. I can't help but appreciate you all the time because you give me a reason to do this, and it's fun for me. More Storytime adventures coming. More Storytime with Uncle Punky. Lots more. Stand by. See ya. See, I moved to the second one.